Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Flash, and it's the Premier League show with Matt and Martin. Week one, we saw some interesting games. We saw some sides that are going to definitely need to improve. And we've got the four sides: Man United, Man City, Burnley and Wolves. They kick off their campaign this week, 1 week later. But first of all, if you like this video, then please subscribe. It's important you subscribe. And hopefully tomorrow you'll see the reasons and the fruits of your I'll say labour, but it's not really a lot of labour by just pressing a button. But if you haven't pressed a button, then please do, because then ring the bell and then we will notify you and you'll never miss any content again. But I'm giving you a little inkling. The graphics for the show was absolutely unbelievable. Got me so hyped up. A little technical glitch, which we can't do nothing about. Let's put a little bit of a pin in my balloon. But winners will definitely help me. Now, also, you press a link in the description. That will take you over to the articles wrote by either Tancredi or Martin or Dave or Alex. Gentlemen, we've got Matt and Martin. I'm going to come to you first, Martin. There was a few winners and losers. Arsenal got the job done. So did Chelsea, but the bankers were Arsenal, so it's a good start.
Yeah, I really fancied Arsenal to beat Fulham. Arsenal finished the season in good form, but Fulham just looked really, really bad, didn't they? It's a championship team still. Team that finished fourth in the second tier of English football last season. No new additions to that side, and Arsenal took them apart in pretty comfortable fashion. Brighton put up a better fight against Chelsea, but it was a real thunderbolt from Reece James to hand them the victory. So well played to them. And yeah, a lot of teams looked good. Everton looked a lot better than I expected. So yeah, I'm going to have a few different picks this time around and learn from that first week, and hopefully we'll start building up our profit.
Well, remember, you are our third guest, so get your tips in there, get your bad beats from last week. And I want to hear from you Tottenham fans, because that's one of the worst opening day displays I've seen in many a year. You look like a relegation outfit, and at 150 to 1, Mourinho back down from 33 to 1, which is plus 3,300 down to plus 800 to be the first manager sacked. I'm also hearing on the grapevine that Eddie Howe might be in the wings at West Ham. So you heard it here first. Matt, 2 selections, 100% record for you.
Anything but. It was, a week where...
No, it was 100%. It was 100%.
Yeah, 100% losses. So,
100% record for you.
Yeah, no, I got the big egg last week, but it's just week one. That's kind of one of the reasons why I only made 2 selections. A couple of my leans were really solid, but yeah, I mean, we had the market move in the right direction on both plays. Just couldn't get it done. Guaita had a fantastic appearance there in goal for Palace to keep out Southampton, and yeah, it was just one of those weeks. But it's there's many more to come right now.
Oh, there's plenty. Listen, don't you ever worry, because I was just once, I was down 30 units. 30 units. I think it was maybe Christmas, even January time. And I finished 16 units up. I don't expect you've got that type of caliber in your bag. But obviously, listen, it's never over till that fat lady sings, and we know we get plenty value as the season goes on. Freddie, let's have a little look at the record from last week, please. I've done it quite crudely because it's only a game. So Martin, so now the picks and the units. I've heard people say, what's a unit? Well, it can be 1 unit, is always 1 unit, but 2 units for the banker. But 1 unit can be $1, $5, $10, $50, or $100, whatever your unit stake is, and we always stick to that. So Martin had 6 units of bets, obviously a 2 unit inclusive there with Arsenal, the banker. He had 2 wins, 3 losses for 0.1 loss. Matt, 2 units staked, no wins. The losses should say 2, and the profit is -2. Flash, 4.5. The 0.5 was because of the parlay at 0.5 of a unit. 2 wins, 2 losses, and plus 1.35. So I might even just leave that up for the rest of the show, but I want to increase that as we go. Go on in, Freddie, get that off. Let's get on with this show. Everyone, this one got plenty. 60 watching live, 13 thumbs up. I need them thumbs up, please. You'll see why. You will see why. I'm so excited by the new kit that we've got coming. I had the graphics up earlier. I was like a little kid in the candy store. I'm going to start off with you, Martin. We're going to start off with Everton. Impressive last week. James Rodriguez was a star man on the show. I know Tottenham was so inept. But Everton at -165, the draw at +325, and West Bromwich Albion at +500.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Everton, actually. Hold my hands up. I went for Tottenham to win that one. I thought they'd make a flying start to the campaign. Everton were hopeless last season, and I thought it would take a bit of time for the new players to gel. But yeah, very impressive transfer business, it looks like, from Everton in the summer. Allen fitted straight in. It was exactly what they needed, a holding midfielder. And James Rodriguez just looked at the peak of his powers. I wondered if he was a bit of a fading force from not playing too much in the past couple of years, but he was brilliant. He was the best player on the pitch, and as you say, it was an abject performance from Tottenham, but take nothing away from Everton. Very well done. West Brom, pretty much like for like what I said about Fulham. It's a championship team that have come up, haven't really spent any money yet, and they look ill prepared to deal with the rigors of this league. Had both of Fulham and Everton and West Brom, to go down in the Futures show that we did, and I still stand by that. I think this should be a pretty comfortable home win for Everton, really. They look very impressive in that game against Spurs. They've got good depth in their squad, and I think West Brom will be pretty low on confidence after the nature of that defeat at the hands of Leicester. Yeah, so I'm going to go for... let me just get my pick there. Everton to beat West Brom and under 4.5 goals. Classic bet there at odds of -110.
-110, and I've just seen someone in the chat say Everton win and under 4 goals at 1.83. That's like -125. Have a little shop around, because I'm actually going to go for the same thing. But my household are cheering on James Rodriguez because my good lady's brother manages him. So in our household, we are definitely cheering him on. And I think Everton are going to be massive homers. I'm not so sure about them on the road. They're organised, but their midfield absolutely dominated Spurs. Matt, Everton at home this year, I think that's where they're going to get their success.
Yes. Yeah, I love this squad. We talked about it last week. I mean, just this athletic really midfield that they have here. Allen was man of the match also, really. I mean, it was kind of two players, both man of the match. James Rodriguez, this is why you buy this kind of player. For these kind of matches where West Brom will probably be sitting back here a little deep, and it's up to James to really pick the passes and find, the likes of the Richarlisons and Calvert-Lewins out there. Calvert-Lewin is a quality goal scorer really up top. And yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Everton and under 4.5 as a solo looks really, really good. I've also included them in a parlay.
I'll tell you what, Matthew M's come up with an absolute peach. First game up. I've not seen Matthew M in for a long while. Everton win to nil at +160. I mean, I think that's got legs. Has got legs, but I'm with you. I see Everton winning this game, and we'll put up our picks at the end of the show so that you can all have a good look at them. Now, Leeds, very, very impressed with Leeds last week, going to Anfield first game. I know Liverpool was sleepy, but the confidence they showed, the way they disciplined of playing a certain way, and to get beat 4-3, sometimes when you lose, you actually win. And I think that they actually came away with a lot of confidence, and I think they'll be fine. Matt, Leeds -150, draw +300, Fulham at +500. Do you like Leeds?
I would lean with Leeds here. Yeah, this isn't a match that I'm really getting involved in a betting perspective, but I do think, both of these two teams, they split last season in the championship. Fulham got the better of them the first time around, and then Leeds won 3-0 in their last head-to-head. Leeds have strengthened. Fulham really have not. I think that the price is a little bit, where it's a little bit too much for what I'd like to pay. I'd rather see this in the -120 range. But I think if you combine them with an over 1.5 or under 4.5, you could definitely see some value here on Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those with Leeds. I'm definitely not going to be opposing them very often this year, and I'm going to try and look for the value when they are playing. And the one thing I thought that I spotted last week was they're a bit at 6s and 7s in defence. I mean, I saw a couple of the central defenders go walkabouts, leave the space in behind and down the sides. I see both teams scoring, Martin.
Yeah, I didn't see much from Fulham going forwards in that game against Arsenal. Very rarely looked troubled, but Mitrovic did come on in the second half, and he's a lot more dangerous for them. The way he bulldozes about the pitch. If he's playing against a bit of a shaky Leeds back line, then I could see both teams to score coming off. Coke didn't look particularly composed back there for Leeds, but I was really impressed with the way they played against Liverpool. That's why I didn't bet on Liverpool last weekend. Came within a whisker of actually getting a point against the champions, which was fantastic, really. If it wasn't for a brainless tackle from Rodrigo, it would have been 3-3. So I think they'll go out and win this game. It's all about energy from Leeds. They play at such an intense tempo that they pick up lots of points, and then suddenly the results go south when they get tired and their legs can't cope with it anymore. So while they're still fresh, I'm going to keep betting on them, and I do see goals in this game. So yeah, just like Matt said, I'm going for Leeds to win over 1.5 goals, and I got even money when I placed that plus 100 a bit earlier this week.
Yeah, listen, I'll put the prices on your selections later on your official picks. I've actually gone with both teams to score because I just think that Fulham mentally will see this as a championship game, and they all fancy, listen, they were up against it at home to Arsenal last week to go away from home, and they'll think to themselves, listen, we can match them. I think Leeds win the game. But I also think that just at minus 110, just for both teams to score and not care who wins, is definitely the way to go. Now, I've left this next game alone, mine, because Man United at minus 300, draw plus 500, and Crystal Palace at plus 1050, 1,050. If anyone wants to know, that is 10.5 to 1. You see Man United winning the game, but how do you get the value, Martin?
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, I have to pass this one as well, Flash. I think Crystal Palace went up there and got a famous result the last time they played, and Man United were on fire at the time, and no one really expected much from Palace, but they've picked up some decent results here and there against some top teams over the past couple of years. So when you see that sort of price opposing them, it's difficult to take. This is the sort of game that could go either way, really. Crystal Palace could really frustrate Man United and end up getting a point or only narrowly losing, or United could get an early goal and just absolutely thrash them. You don't quite know. So it's difficult from a betting perspective. But I will say that Crystal Palace looked a lot more resolute last weekend than they did towards the end of the previous campaign. Fantastic performance from Guaita in goal. And got the goal from Zaha. Well played to them. Just don't fancy this one from a betting perspective because, yeah, it's Man United's first game of the season. I want to see a bit more from them before I'm backing them at those sort of odds.
No, totally agree. I think that's the sensible way to go because obviously your blind man can say, oh, Man United are going to win. Maybe both teams to score, maybe the Alex Classic. But all of a sudden there's too many maybes. But let's have a little look at Man United. Let's see where they're at because there's another 35 games to go after this. So just because you miss one game, and remember Palace, they are that funny side that they've been to Anfield in a couple of seasons and won. They've been to the Etihad and won. They've been to Old Trafford and got something. So at minus 300, I mean, the Alex Classic looks something because one thing you can guarantee with Man United is they don't keep clean sheets. So, Matt, are you interested in this game?
No, I'm right there with you guys. I think it's just a match to, really take some notes on and watch from a neutral perspective. It's just tough when, United have that first week off and Palace, they did pick up a nice 3 points against Southampton. But yeah, this is a different animal. If I had a lean here, I probably would say that United should be able to get the job done by 2 clear goals, but it's tricky here. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Dockett, he says there's a penalty in the match at 2.75. Every single chance. Harry was also saying about Leeds to score in both halves as well. Keep your guesses coming in because they are guesses at the moment because obviously they're just leans until you put your money down and then they are proper selections. Now, Arsenal, look, arrogance, pace. They looked like a decent outfit last week, but they were playing against championship opposition, and it was only week 1. Can they now go and back it up? Because this is where the Arsenal of old fall down. They do well against the big sides, but when you expect them to go and win the game comfortably, they then are found wanting. But there does seem to be a newfound confidence this year in the Gunners. And I'm going to start with you again, Martin, because they're your team. Arsenal at minus 190, the draw plus 375. And West Ham, who look like they're going to be in for a long season, could get through more than one manager at plus 550. It's Arsenal, but how do we get it?
Yeah, they really do look like it could be a long old season. I can see David Moyes getting sacked at some point if results go south, and then they could really be in trouble. I actually think Eddie Howe would be a pretty good signing for them. They do like to play attacking football. They've been shocking at the back for years now, but they always seem to get out of jail due to the attacking talent at their disposal. They'll probably be all right, but I do think they'll be in for a tough season. Arsenal have had some funny results against West Ham here and there, but beaten pretty comprehensively last season. And this is the sort of team that I think Arsenal should do really well against. They're not the sort of team that sit back and soak up pressure. They're not disciplined at the back at all. Arsenal have got some very talented forwards. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's just signed his new contract. He's going to want to celebrate with a goal. Willian looked very composed in that match. There's competition for places going forward. I think Ceballos will come back into the team and get them really ticking. This is a game that Arsenal win comfortably for me. I'm going to go for Arsenal in the over 1.5 goals and get good odds on that. I think that's the sensible way to go with this one.
I agree with everything, apart from the sensible way to go is I've gone with Arsenal to win by 1 or 1.5, whichever one you use, European or the Asian handicap, because at plus 150 for Arsenal to win this game 3-0, 3-1, even 2-0 gets you the right result. Matt, it's an Arsenal win for us, and it's comfortable.
That's what it is for me as well. I think Gabriel last week was immense there in the back line. Just to come in like that on his debut and really, he scored a goal and really he did everything that he needed to do to solidify that back line and prove to Arteta, that was a quality buy here. Obviously, there's many more matches to go and we'll see. But yeah, Aubameyang penning the new deal. There's a really good feel factor around the Emirates right now, and it's contagious. And I believe that they have way too much for West Ham here. I've got them in the second part of my double here. Arsenal should clearly win here, I think.
Love that. So we're going, all three of us fancy that the Gunners get the job done. Normally that means Arsenal let us down. Let's hope it's not the case now. Also close to pressing the button here. We got Southampton at plus 210, who was sleepy away at Palace last week, but still could have got something out of the game if the Palace keeper weren't on fire. But they weren't sharp in their movement. They weren't sharp in crossing the ball. And they were very sloppy at the back, to be fair. They kept a high line. And one thing you don't want to do with Palace is have a high line. So just put it over the top with Ayew and Zaha. So I thought it was quite naive and very, very sloppy. But Southampton at plus 210, the draw plus 240, and Spurs at plus 145. Well, I'm telling you now, if you gave me any money, I would not go near Spurs at all, Matt.
Same. There's just too many mixing parts here. I mean, they just made a signing today, the left back from Real Madrid. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. Sergio Reguilon, I believe is how it is. But, so you can tell that Mourinho, and also there's Bale news that is coming out. Bale might want out of Madrid. So Mourinho really, in a sense, he wants to strengthen. If there is a good time to probably fade Spurs, it still is now. I mean, they looked poor last week. You can tell Mourinho wants to go out and spend here. So Southampton, they let me down a little bit last week. If I had to play on this one, it's a pass. It's not enough for me. I didn't get a good look at Spurs last week. I think the over is in play here, though. I don't think that these two sides really set up to defend very well at the moment. And you can tell it by Mourinho dipping his toes into the transfer market. So, Southampton's still a team for me that I'm looking this season to score a lot of goals, even though they didn't score last week. So if I had to play this one, it would definitely be the over.
I just think Southampton double chance. I'm not going to get involved in the game because it's Southampton or Timor, but I couldn't go. Anyone who wants to go near Spurs, I think it's straight jacket time, and that's only in week 2. I mean, I go through the back. You've got Davis. I've got Toby, who's like just in casual mode. Dyer wants to be a centre-back who doesn't want to head the ball. Doherty, I'm not having in defensive situations. Then I go into midfield, and I've got the likes of Winks, and they spent over 20 million on Højbjerg. I told you about Højbjerg. No chance is he a Spurs player. He's not a top half Premier League player. In fact, he'll struggle in the Championship if teams get around him. So Spurs, for me, they've made some really, really bad buys. And I'd want to see maybe a new manager as well come in and put a real injection of enthusiasm and pace, Martin.
Yeah, Spurs were just had an exceptional starting 11 a couple of years ago when Dembele was pulling the strings in midfield. Kane was on fire. Dele Alli looked like a world beater. Not sure what's happened to him. He's gone so far back.
They were disgusting, weren't they?
It was a horrendous performance, and I hold my hands up. Like I say, I bet on Spurs. I thought at home, Mourinho will get them fired up and they'll start the season well, but couldn't have been further wrong, really. It was a absolutely horrendous performance, and classic Mourinho, totally laid into the players afterwards, said they were lazy. It's not exactly the way to win over the dressing room, but maybe they're going to get some signings that will galvanise the squad a little bit. Bale to Tottenham would be huge, but not sure how they're going to pay his £600,000 a week wages. Maybe they'll have to get Real Madrid to pay 5-6 of them or something. But for now, Bale's not going to be there. And also very, very disappointed with Southampton last weekend. Thought they should have got the job done against Crystal Palace, who were in horrendous form towards the end of last season, but just didn't really create enough. And denied by 2 good saves from Guaita. So just really don't like this game at all. Pass.
Yeah, maybe both teams to score could be the way to go if you get decent value. But for me, leave it alone. Have a good look. Now, I like this next game, and I think it's unbelievable value. Newcastle plus 160, draw plus 225, and Brighton at plus 200. Now, you're getting the home side, Martin, at plus 160. I'll watch them now. It's a little bit like the Everton Spurs game that we saw last week, because Newcastle dominated from very early on against a really poor West Ham side. But were West Ham so poor? Because the midfield was dominated by Newcastle, and all of a sudden they've got a bit of pace up front, so they've got an out ball. They've got a long ball, obviously, into Carroll. I fancy they're going to be suited at home. They seem to be more on the front foot, and they seem to be passing forward quickly.
Yeah, I think they've definitely made some good signings in the summer. It's not quite the summer that the Magpies fans wanted. They didn't get taken over by a Saudi consortium and get Pochettino as manager and Coutinho as their playmaker and really go for it. But, with a limited budget, they made some shrewd acquisitions. Callum Wilson obviously got off with a goal, and he looks like he's going to be a huge upgrade on Joe Linton. Jeff Hendricks slotted into that midfield nicely. So, I think a comfortable mid-table finish for Newcastle, leaning towards Newcastle in this game. They're good at home, even without the fans. But
why just a lean, though? Why would it be just a lean?
Well, because Brighton looked very good for me against Chelsea.
Neat and tidy.
Yeah, when Trossard curled in that equaliser, they had all the momentum, and it was that Reece James thunderbolt that just changed the game, and then a deflected shot, nothing they could have done about that, and they lost 3-1. But I thought they were in that for large periods of the game, and I think they'll earmark this as a game that they can go and take a point in. So I'm just a bit worried about the Seagulls nicking a point up there. Maybe I'd go Newcastle draw no bet, but there probably isn't the value there. So I'm going to slide on past this one as well.
Okay, Matt, do you like the Magpies here at plus 160? I can't get away from it. I think it's almost like sometimes in week 1, week 2, week 3 in the NFL when they get the lines wrong because they just don't quite know where the teams are at. I look at Newcastle and think at home, with the pace, with the confidence, I think plus 160 should be minus 125.
Yeah, I do have Newcastle slightly rated above Brighton. But Brighton going into it, they are unbeaten on the road in their last 7. So they traveled well late last season with no fans. And Martin really touched on it well. They were dominating Chelsea for a large portion of that match, both in possession, and they had quality chances to go along with it. It's a tricky one for me. These two teams, the historical data really doesn't back up an over here. Pretty much every time these two teams have played, it's been 0-0, 1-0.
Yeah, there's no historical data in the Premier League. I don't care who it is, because every season there's upgrades. There's teams that lose players. There's teams that obviously change philosophy. All that historical data goes right out the window, because Southampton hadn't been beaten at Palace in the last 7 or 8 visits, and then last week they get beat 1-0.
That's exactly my point here, really, is I think that there's actually a case to be made here for taking an over. I think that the over 2.25 goal, you can find that at a plus price. So if it lands on 2, you would lose half your stake. But I see 3 goals in this match. I think that both of these teams are trying to be a little bit more inventive. And like you said, Flash, I don't really trust the historical data really in this match. I just see two teams that come in with a different attitude this season and that want to play a different way than what they're accustomed to playing. Over 2.25 looks pretty good.
Okay, over 2.25. Well, I'm not complicating it. There's the first time I've said it, apart from Arsenal last week. I'm not complicating this. I'm going Newcastle to win at plus 160. Now, the game of the weekend, Stamford Bridge, is Chelsea at plus 230. The draw at plus 280 and Liverpool at plus 125. Matt, I look at this game and you're a Liverpool fan. I want to go with Chelsea, draw no bet. After what I saw about Liverpool sloppy. Now they're straight in to a title contending game. Looks like the Alex Classic is for the blind man.
Yeah, no, that's kind of right where I'm going here. So it's really about price, because I think that Liverpool, what I would call this kind of as a neutral site in my mind with no fans, when you're getting a price at plus 125 on arguably the third or fourth best team probably in the world right now, it's not a bad idea. But 6 times in a row, we've seen both teams to score in Liverpool matches. This is such a tactical beauty of a match, really. When you think of it's all about Van Dijk and Gomez. Can they stop the counterattack of Havertz and Werner, who were electric last week against Brighton? This is also a really good managerial matchup. Two coaches that have kind of had digs at one another in the last month or so with Lampard and Jurgen. You know, it's one of those, both of them really have some points to prove here. But just, I want to go with Liverpool, but that's kind of the fan in me. That's kind of the fan in me. I think the price is right, actually. But, you know, for me here, until they really start to defend at a proper level like they were when they hoisted that title last season before the pandemic, you know, back in December, January, when they were picking up some of those really classy results on the road. It looks like both teams to score here and over 2.5 goals. I saw that at 1.85 earlier.
Yeah, minus 120. I mean, the Alex Classic, as I say, is for the blind man. It looks like it's going to be an absolute cracking game. And behind closed doors, we could see anything. It could be a 3-2, 3-3. I'm not going to go with the individuals. I've decided not to, because you can't go against Liverpool when they know that they've got to produce, Martin.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating game. Can't wait to see it. We obviously saw Liverpool win that 5-3 to wrap up the title last season. That was game of the season for me. It's going to be really intriguing. Like Matt said, it's a clash of two coaches that have got no love lost between one another recently. Bit of a mismatch for me. Jurgen Klopp, best manager in the world. Frank Lampard, very inexperienced still. But yeah, I think both defences look very sloppy at the moment. Not sure quite what's happened to Liverpool after they were rock solid before the restart and then just sort of fallen apart ever since then. Van Dijk doesn't look like his usual composed self, and you always get a bit of joy by going in behind Robertson down the left and attacking the weaker centre-back, which is probably going to be Gomez. So I feel like Timo Werner's going to have a point to prove. He was hoping for a move to Liverpool, but it didn't materialise, so he ended up at Chelsea instead. He looked pretty sharp in that game against Brighton. So, yeah, I fancy both teams scoring in this one. I'm definitely going to go for the Alex Classic of both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Regularly comes in between these two teams, so hope it happens again. But my other bet, sorry to all the Chelsea fans, but I'm going to have to go for Liverpool to win. They're the champions, and they've got phenomenal forwards. I think they can get the job done, and at those odds, got to go for it.
Yeah, I look at the midfield battle. I think it's going to be a massive. I could see a red card in this game. I can definitely see a penalty in this game. Who to? I think it's one of those. You go the Alex Classic, you sit back. I think the Alex Classic's at like minus 120, but I've just seen Barca man who's thrown one in, and he's gone team total for Liverpool at 1.84, which again is around the 120 mark. So again, we're looking at maybe a 2-2. 2-1 worst case. I don't see either side keeping a clean sheet. I mean, it's one that you can definitely enjoy. Everyone in the chat. Listen, we've got 116 of you watching live. We appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed, then please do that. I'll go through it at the end of the show. But thumbs up would be nice. Only 42. That's about, what, 35% of you have put your thumbs up. So please do that. Now we're going to move to a game that could be a trap. Leicester, fresh off of beating West Bromwich Albion, probably the worst or second worst side this year in the Premier League, apart from maybe Tottenham and West Ham. Leicester, minus 150, draw plus 300, Burnley at plus 480. Martin, do we go with Burnley afresh, or do we go with Leicester are on the back of a 3-0 win last week?
I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? It's huge odds on Burnley. They were very strong towards the end of last season. Really shot up the table, did very well. You can never write them off under Sean Dyche. So yeah, I wouldn't put anyone off going for Burnley at those huge odds or Burnley double chance. But then again, I thought Leicester would struggle against West Brom, so I passed, and they end up with a very comfortable victory.
You didn't lose nothing. You don't lose nothing when you pass.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm going to pass this one as well. It is difficult in the early weeks of the season. You still want to get a few weeks where you get a feel for the teams, see what sort of style that they're going to play this season, see how the new arrivals are going to blend into the team. So I think it's better to err on the side of caution in the opening few weeks than really go for it for about 20 odd weeks and then tail off a bit towards the end of the season when teams don't have anything to play for. So going to be a little bit cautious now and just pass this one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Burnley, you don't often get to see them at plus 480, Matt. And I think they might just have the measure and the discipline as long as they can stay in the game.
Yes. Yeah. I think the biggest coup for Burnley this offseason really was to hold on to Sean Dyche. A guy that was, maybe looking to exit the club. And that was a huge deal to be able to keep hold of him, looking to keep hold of Tarkowski there in the back line. It's one of those that I still don't believe and trust Leicester yet. I still look at them as what they did in the summertime, and I still see some players that really aren't in there. It looks like they just made another signing today. Senchik Under from Roma will be coming over to play right wing for them. So moving parts. I think that this is one where, how badly I wanted to take Burnley on the money line. I really thought that at plus 450 in that range was serious value. I also think the under is worth a look here. I thought the under was worth a look in West Brom Leicester. It was 0-0 for quite some time, and then Leicester put 3 past them late. But I think the under's in play. I think Burnley plus 0.75 or 3/4 of a goal at a plus price looks pretty good here. I don't see them losing by more than one. I think that this is kind of a draw match.
Okay, draw maybe. So maybe Burnley double chance is the way to go. I'm going to leave it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Burnley do get something out of the game. Vardy scoring again, obviously scores 2 and everyone goes mad. I don't see him at the top of the scoring charts this season unless they get like 20 penalties. And we have a little bit like we had in Serie A with Immobile and Ronaldo at the top of the scoring charts because they had a million penalties. Now, Villa plus 170, the draw plus 235, and Sheffield United at plus 180. Matt, I'll come to you first. Sheffield United, they got hit after 5 minutes, 6 minutes by Wolves, went bang, bang. But you know something? Sheffield United had 12 corners in that game to Wolves' 5. They just need to put the ball in the back of the net, and I'm wondering if they'll be too strong and too organised for Villa, and they owe on one after their goal got disallowed last year. No Hawkeye.
Yes, no, there is a little bit of revenge from that. There is, I think that Sheffield really, they didn't wake up here in the first 5-6 minutes. And yes, they got 2 past them. But like you touched on, Flash, they were creating chances as the game went on, and they hit the bar a couple times. They were solid. And I still think that they're a classier outfit than Villa here. It's a tricky one. But I do lean with Sheffield here at a draw no bet. I don't see them getting beat. But there is a feel good factor around Villa. They won 3-1 yesterday against Burton in the League Cup. Grealish had a fantastic goal in the 88th. There is a feel good factor there, but give me the better manager here in Chris Wilder, really, and just more organized team. This one, it's probably pretty dreary as well.
Yeah, Grealish just signed a new 5-year contract, though, Martin, which for me, I'm wondering if that means that if someone comes in, they're going to have to pay a massive price, because I'm not so sure that Villa stay in the Premier League for 5 years.
Yeah, they probably will. It's a strange move for him. I know he's from Birmingham. He loves the club, so he was obviously elated after they stayed up. But it could be a case of like Wilfried Zaha, who signed a long-term contract at Crystal Palace, and now he can't seem to get out of there because they demand too high a fee for him. So he may come to regret that decision. But then again, he could command a really high transfer fee and go to a big club in a blaze of glory. But for this game, just really not sure how this one's going to pan out. Like Matt, I would lean towards Sheffield United because I think they're the better team. They're more organised. But with Grealish in the team, they've always got a chance. And it was a very shaky start to the new season for Sheffield United. So going to be a big fat pass for me on Sheffield United games for a couple of weeks until I see more from them.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, both teams to score no could be it. I think under 2.5, maybe even under 1.5 could be the way to go. And someone gets maybe 75th, 80th minute winner. So yeah, just leave it alone. It's only week 2. We're still scouting away now. Wolves at plus 600, draw plus 360, and Man City at minus 185. Martin, Wolves at plus 600 is a massive price because they're a good European side. On their day, they're a match for anyone. And Man City, this is their first game. Do Man City hit the ground running, knowing that the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea, and maybe even Leicester, have already gone and won their first game?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because Wolves beat Man City 3-2 here last season, but Ederson did get sent off very early in that game. So maybe don't read too much into that one. But they do have a very good record against the top teams, Wolves. They're really good at stifling the life out of the opposition, very tight, very controlled in midfield, and they're strong at the back. But I can't see them winning it, to be honest. I think Man City will start with a victory in this game. Guardiola will get them fired up. They'll know that teams around them have already won, and they're going to need to make a flying start to the campaign. I passed it because I just wasn't sure. I'm always a bit nervous about Man City at those sort of odds these days. They're a bit inconsistent, but now looking at the odds, yeah, I would be inclined to go for sort of Man City and over 1.5 goals.
What about the Alex Classic, Martin?
Yeah, that looks good to me. I can see them conceding. Never looking too solid at the back anymore these days, Man City. But I also like the look of Raheem Sterling to score at any time, 2.38. I think he's going to be an important player for them this season. He gets on the end of a lot of the intricate play they do. I think he's got the ability to really come in off the flanks and cause havoc for that back three of Wolves. So if I was going to go for anything, yeah, I'd go for Sterling, 2.38 to score.
Okay, it's not bad. I mean, you look at their styles. They both like to be patient in their build-up. They like to defend deep, Wolves, which is obviously something that every side's going to need to do against Man City because they pass so quickly and they have good pace. Good players on the wing that like to come in, Matt. It's going to be hard for Wolves to stop Man City getting off to a flying start. And remember, they are favourites.
Yes, they are. And it's one of those where it's a fascinating tactical matchup. Again, I remember being on this one last year, and you just see Nuno Santos. He's going to know exactly what to do here. They're going to sit back. It's going to be the Traore, Jimenez, Podence, Jota on the break here, and that's City's weakness, really. They do struggle against the teams that can counterattack properly and defend well with a good shape. When I first looked at this match, I wrote down both teams to score at minus 130. I thought that was in play. I think that Wolves on the handicap is in play. Against City in the last 6, they've won 2, drawn 3, and only lost 1 match. They don't lose by a margin very often. So I think that this is kind of a 1-goal match here, and I would be happy to side with Wolves. Actually, I think that they're still really underrated to the odds makers.
Okay, Martin, you see that in the chat that they're saying that Kevin De Bruyne has got the coronavirus. I fancy that if he had the coronavirus, it would have been all over every single sports network, publications, and everything. Have you found anything that can confirm that?
No, because I saw that and I just Googled it, just thinking, I must have been under a rock for the past few days because, that would be at the top of BBC Sport, but nothing on the news or the chat about De Bruyne having the coronavirus. So unless you've got an inside tack into the club, it looks like he's okay.
I mean, who said that? Who said it? Andrew Solomon. Oh, he's normally decent, but I'm going to go with Martin over you, Andrew, every single day of the week. Now, listen, just also put your ideas of a banker in the chat, please, because this is the first. This week will be the first of 2 from the Premier League, 2 from Serie A, 2 from Bundesliga, and 2 from La Liga. And let's see how we go. So put your banker in. If it's half decent, then I will put it forward. It doesn't have to be one of our official plays. It's us as a team. That's you in the chat and Matt and Martin. With Matt's current record, we'll probably leave him out. We can wait for him to get his confidence back. Now, let's have a little look at the official plays this week, please, Freddie. Get them up on the board, my lad, because there's some absolute beauties from me. Okay, we're going to start with Martin. Everton and under 4.5 at -110. Leeds to win and over 1.5 at +100. I gave you your +100 there, Martin. Arsenal and over 1.5 at -133. Chelsea and Liverpool, the Alex Classic at -117. And Liverpool to win at +120. You got Matt's picks, which you might as well just put a line through these. Burnley, Asian handicap +0.75, +105. Chelsea and Liverpool, Alex Classic at -120. Yeah, we like that one. And Everton and Arsenal parlay at +140. Like that as it goes, Matt. I think you're 140. I think a lot of people may well like that parlay. Now, my picks. Everton and win and under 4.5 at -110. Leeds and Fulham, both teams to score at -110. Arsenal -1.5 on the Asian or the European handicap at +150. Newcastle at +170. That's Flash's bookie again because I was offering 160 earlier. And Chelsea and Liverpool, Alex Classic at 117. My banker is going to be Everton to win and under 4.5. Martin, can you give me a banker?
Well, I went for Arsenal last week, so I'm going to have to go for them again, I think. Arsenal in the over 1.5 goals for me. West Ham, not a great defence, so should take them down.
Okay, so there's your banker. And Matt, have you got a banker there? Which is 2 units, by the way. So if you normally have $5 or £5 on, then you're going to double it up to 10.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for you guys both to win because I like the double that I have, Everton and Arsenal. So
you're just going to do the parlay.
Yep, I like that one.
1 unit parlay or 0.5 parlay?
It's definitely going to be a 1 unit parlay for me.
Yeah, that's decent. We like that. Now, have you got any bankers in the chat? I'll be having a little look. As I say to you, if you like this video, and we're happy that 124 of you live watching, over 53 of you giving us the thumbs up. Please press that button, turn it grey, press the subscribe, ring the bell. Ring the bell means that we'll notify you and you'll never miss any content. And we notified you today because we was meant to be all singing, all dancing, which may well be tomorrow. Fingers crossed you have a look at that setup. Because obviously tomorrow we've got Serie A and Bundesliga back-to-back shows. And if you press the link in the description, that'll take you over to our articles. And it will be from Martin or Tan or Dave or Alex. There's plenty for you to see, and there's loads of other sports that we cover here on SBR. So, Martin, I'll see you again on Friday for La Liga. Matt, looking forward to you getting. I like that parlay, I really do. Arsenal just to win, Everton just to win at +140. I hope you have a great weekend, gentlemen, and everyone in the chat. Oh no, whoa. Slow yourself down, Flash, man. We need 2 bankers to put forward to the international parlay. Matt, what do you like? Just so we can rule it out.
Arsenal and Everton.
No, only. Oh, okay. So you want? Okay. What about you, Martin?
Well, yeah, I've gone for Arsenal and over 1.5 goals, and Everton and under 4.5 goals. So maybe put those through to the parlay.
So what are we going to go with? We're going to go with Arsenal and over 1.5.
Yep, against West Ham.
And
Everton to beat. Yeah, why not?
Okay, that's what we're doing. The first 2, and I'll remind everybody. So we're going to do 2 from the Premier League, 2 from Serie A, 2 from Bundesliga, and then we'll do 2 on Friday from La Liga. Remember, La Liga Lowdown will be joining us, and we've got Roman this week. So we're going with Arsenal to win and over 1.5. And Everton just to win. Good luck, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Listen, You're our third guest, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow when we've got Serie A and Bundesliga with the mad men from the Muppet Show. See you soon. Take care.